Hey, everybody, welcome to KISS.
Keep it simple, sister.
And we're back. This is our
This
part
is part
two.
two.
So just for people who might be new, just discovering us, I'm Samantha. This is Diana. And we're here to share all the tips, tricks, techniques, and the products that we have discovered over our many, many years of our soul journey, wanderings, and, misbegotten, youth, and all the things that we have done that have led us into these amazing little things that we've come up with, that have made our lives so much easier, so much more beautiful, so much easier to navigate through like the rockier times of life, which we all face. And
And
we want to bring them.
appreciate the good ones.
Yes. So we want to share all of that with you. Wow,
Yes.
that was a lot.
Yes.
So this is a part two, picking up from the week before. And I was really proud of us last week because we didn't totally um we didn't get into venting or male bashing. This is a women's only podcast. Let's just say that. We expressed some frustration with trying to share stuff with the male counterparts in our lives and
And family
resistant.
members in general
Hmm. Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's mainly male counterparts.
Well, yeah. Well, and the whole idea of it was from me. Well, actually from both of us. But I was real frustrated because my husband will not drink moringa. He will not listen to what I'm telling him that will make him feel better. And it's
Mhm.
making me crazy. And it's been going on and on for months and months and months and months. And
That would make
Samantha
such a
has,
difference.
both of us have been trying to problem solve this and figure out what and what and what. And then we kind of expanded it to everyone who doesn't want to know what will make things better for them. Now, you guys do, or you wouldn't be here for our podcast.
Yep.
Hopefully, you enjoy the way we present things, but because that's our whole purpose in this is to try and help people feel better, and give you some strategies and some products and some things that you can do to make you have an better and easier life. Now, who do you think we would want to impress upon that the most? Our husband, our children, our
Hmm.
good friends, our extended family,
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
and we find they don't believe we know things. We know things.
Yep.
And if we don't know things, we go find out some things and then we find some things. And we're happy to share these things. And if you're not willing to try it, it's kind of off-putting. It's kind of insulting to me when I
Well,
say, "Hey, I found out all these great things about moringa, and can't you just see on my face how much I love it? Why wouldn't you be willing to try it?"
mhm. Yeah. Why can't you
The
just
old
trust me on this one? I will say, and we're going to get to our topic for this one in just a moment, but I will say, so I've been making this thing called ugly duckling soup that I got from Trim Healthy Mama, the recipe from them. And it is basically, I mean, it's a green soup. It is as green gets. And then you're putting ground beef into it. You don't have to, but I do. And I mean,
uh-huh.
it's part of their recipe. And it's so you're putting in like a ton of kale, beets, beet greens, and the base is I think is chicken noodle soup, and a couple of other things. But it's just, I mean, when you see it congealed in the fridge, I mean, it is a lump of green with brown nuggets of beef in it. So it looks
Uh-huh.
so unappetizing. And
Yeah.
they would not taste it, they would not touch it. And then I've been doing this now for like 4 years. And now all of a sudden, they can't wait for me to make it. And then everyone's eating it. Like, because there's something that your body just goes, I must have this. Like it's a flavor, it's something that your body literally just goes, I want this. And so maybe over time things will cross that resistance barrier, but it's so challenging. Okay, so our topic this time is never did I ever. And I said, Diana, we got to make that the topic because that was the statement that your daughter made to you. So go ahead and tell us.
So when my kids were little, they're 25 and 29 now. I have two daughters. And when they were younger, I was teaching and I was mean. I was just mean. And I was I mean, not mean, but strict because I didn't want my kids to go out in public and act like some of these other fools whose parents didn't have any parameters for them. So I came, and I have a big belief that you can be friends with your kids when they're older, but they're not your friend when you're raising them. You need to be the mother, not the friend.
Uh-huh.
Well, and not that I didn't have fun with them and whatever, but I was the straight and narrow teacher lady who followed the rules of society that I thought were the right things. So now that I am getting a little woo woo, I was talking about how I went to the crystal store and I got some crystals and like almost every day I'm doing something and my daughter Annie who was living with us helping with my husband was like, if you had told me when I was 12 that you would be into this stuff, I would have never believed you. And I said, "What about when you were 18?" And she's like, "Yeah, still never. What in the, like, and I keep thinking you're so much happier and you're so much lighter and, you're having a good time and you seem like you're having fun. You never had any fun.
Well,
We
part
never
of
had
it,
any
try working full-time job and
raising
raising a
kids, and
kid,
then there
like,
was a
yeah,
whole lot of
there is
other
that.
stuff going on. Well, and my husband was the fun dad, like, he was so fun that I had to go in
Oh,
the opposite direction to rein it all in. So
I was the everything mom. I was the best friend and the disciplinarian and
well, and I think that I probably would have tended to do that more had I not seen so much with the kids that I taught and my girls' friends, where
yes,
the parents were bending over backwards to be the friend and not giving the limits and the
'cause
boundaries
they
and
need
the
yeah,
yeah, there
they
needs to be
still
a
need
balance
that
there.
boundaries.
But I think I went so far in the other direction because I saw the people who didn't do any of it. And
Mhm.
at times I thought to myself, this isn't really fair to my kids, but they turned out great. Just so you all know, they turned
Yeah.
out great.
Well, so what prompted me to, like, extend this from the other one because we were talking about the resistance, with significant others, but there's also this aspect of us introducing these, it's not just, "Hey, I found a really good nutritional supplement." That's, like, more, mainstream, you expect that, but we're
Yes.
like, "Oh, here's this" what you mentioned before about, "Here's this grounding mat, and here's this, if we put crystals on either side of the bed, it'll balance the energy," or, "You need to go to an acupuncturist." It's these other suggestions that we're making. It's these actions that we are doing that they're just looking at us like, "Who is this person? Like,
Right. Where did
where are
this
you
come
coming
from?
from?" Yeah.
Well, and we keep trying to tell them, you should try this or you should do that. When in fact, it's the do as I do, not as I say kind of thing. So, and this just came to me as we're talking about this,
Mhm.
just all I can do is set the example. And I'm treating myself as if I matter and making these choices for myself. And I'm setting a really good example for my girls. Now, if they decide to do it, yay. If they don't, ooh. I
Mhm.
feel the pressure because my husband has the Parkinson's and I know how drastically it has affected his the things he can do, the things that, he can remember, all that, and I am hell bent to get him to try some moringa because I know it's gonna help him,
Well,
especially when I see these studies and stuff that it's helping everyone with memory issues and really from children up to really old people, everybody should have that as part of their daily routine, um,
but wouldn't you wanna help
but,
yourself? I mean, wouldn't you want
uh,
to you're facing
that's
something that is a one-way track, wouldn't you want to try everything? But
well, and that's the way I would feel about it too, but then I start thinking, "This is not new for him." I've told him to, stop drinking 14 Pepsis a day for the last 25 years, or you're gonna be diabetic, and he didn't wanna hear that either.
yeah.
So, like, there are so many things. I think I'm just drawing my attention to it because I feel like this is a really good way for you to help yourself.
Yeah.
Those other things, down the road, it might impact you, whatever, whatever. This is like right now, today. This can help you. And he
Mhm.
doesn't want to have anything to do with it. But
Well,
there's also so many other people that I come in contact with that are like, what is this woo-woo stuff? Why? Why are you looking into why are you listening to stuff on YouTube about astrology? Why are you listening to people who are channeling things? What are you
what
is this
gives?
right? Like, how did this happen? I don't know what's happening to you. I don't know if I feel comfortable with what's happening to you. Well, I don't care if you don't know what's happening to me. And I don't care if you're comfortable with it because it's working.
Well, okay, see, that's the weird thing. So going back, and I've been involved in the woo-woo stuff for over 35 years, right?
Yeah.
And And going back, I remember seeing people who they would have their crystals and they would hug trees and they would, light the incense and do stuff and set the mood in the room and all of this. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. That is weird. I so can't understand that. Like, and there, it wasn't that I was coming from like I'm so much better than that. I was a rules breaker. So, and I'm Aries, so I'm very impatient. I want results right away. Um, but there's this thing where it just, um, I would look at these people just going, What gives?" So I can remember being that person watching other people doing this weird stuff, this stuff that's just
Yeah.
like, who has the time for that? What's going on, And now all of a sudden I'm like, how did this happen? I'm that person. I'm like, and yeah, I do want to hug trees, but I don't want to get bugs on me. Um, and I am kicking off my shoes to go walk around on the grass, even when it's cold outside. And I know well, I assume my neighbors are always looking out the window. Probably could give a flip. But I'll go walk out there and just like and squeeze the grass in my toes and stuff. And it's doing so many wonderful things for me. So how do we explain to people? How do we get them into that insight, the awareness that like there's a whole other thing happening here. There's a whole other world to step into.
Well, and what I want to say to them is try it, you'll like it. Or if you don't do it anymore.
Exactly. Well, and that's what every single okay, if you listen to any of these people that you and I tend to follow or catch, little bits and pieces and stuff, is they all say, I mean, they speak their truth as they
Right.
know it, and they say, take what works for you, leave the rest behind, because they're on their journey, you're on your journey, and
Right.
maybe only a portion of what, like for me, okay, I've had interesting conversations. I've gotten really close to this one woman who she's moving into all the spiritual stuff that I'm into, but she comes from a background of witch kind of um and like just the whole witch thing,
Uh-huh.
covens, all this kind of stuff, which is so foreign to me. And
Yeah.
I'm so limited on the knowledge. It's like, are you a good witch or a bad witch? Are you this or are you that?
Yeah.
Black magic, white magic. And and I have to keep bringing myself back to, okay, this is all pagan stuff, and it means of the earth, which is exactly the stuff that I'm studying now, that I'm into. It's similar, but anyway. So what was my point with this? That she's eh, there's a lot that she'll bring up. She'll just kind of mention, and I recognize I got nothing for that. I can't mirror it. I can't reflect it. I can't absorb it. Like it's not. It's foreign to me. Just the
Yeah.
same way as the whole idea of talking about ETs. Galactics and all that. Like saying the word galactic, I thought, wow, that's really presumptuous and really weird. And now it's like, oh, that's normal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So w- you take what works for you because it's what you are able to absorb at that time. You don't have to buy into the whole message.
Well,
What?
and I'm laughing because along my awakening journey, which, we talked about a little bit, um, Samantha will tell me stuff, and she'll look at me and she'll say, Is your brain gonna explode?" And I'm like, "Yeah, kinda. We might have to revisit this." And so,
I can see it all floating around above you and it just doesn't know where to go.
well, and you can only absorb a certain amount, and you're also the whole thing about learning is you have to have something to attach it to.
Mhm.
Any new learning that you have to have something to attach it to. So if I don't have the background or the information that I need to be able to hold on to whatever it is you're telling me about, I have to build that up first
Yeah.
to be able to. And we have to remember that when we're telling, our family members about things or whatever. I kind of have, and you probably too, I kind of wait for them to ask me a question. And I'm like, okay, because I got into the crystals because my sciatic nerve was really hurting me. And I went to acupuncture, which I had never done before. And I was like, okay, what's this acupuncture stuff? That really, really helped. Then I went to Reiki, and that really, really helped. And as part of my Reiki, she used crystals, and she said, "You're really sensitive to crystals." And I knew I was, because when she used the crystals, I could really feel the energy. And when she didn't, not as much, whatever. So then I was like, okay, now I have something to hook this to. I know that I'm sensitive to crystals. So now let me learn about the crystals. Let me try the things of the crystals, and I'm still trying to figure all of that out. But it's interesting, and people are all right, we have to be lifelong learners,
Oh,
period. Ex
this
explanation,
it sounds like
explanation.
something that you have said over and over again. Like,
It is, but I think that there are a lot of people that think, "Okay, well, I know everything I'm interested, whatever." What's gonna keep our brains working, what's gonna keep us interesting and interested is exploring new things. And so this is the avenue that I'm choosing. And for you, the which part isn't the avenue that you're choosing, but there's other things that you're being exposed to and told about that you really have something to attach that to. And that is interesting to you. And that does seem like it's something that you want to bring into your realm of possibility.
Mhm. So I'm going to flip that a little bit, just a little bit, introducing the concept of that, on the woo woo side of things, that your guides are your higher self, your guides, whatever up above, that if you're in alignment, meaning you are open, you're in that happy space, that means you're open, you're expanded, that they're nudging you towards things that you had expressed an interest in before you even came into this lifetime. So, it's like you wanted to learn about dream interpretation. Here's this person, nudge, nudge, nudge. So there's a little bit of that going on to guide you because there's a world of knowledge. You could study about Egypt, you could study about um, snakes in the Amazon. You could study about particles of matter on Mars. Like you could, there's so much to learn. But so what is that thing that excites you the most? And that's where, you have that nudge. So there's that. But then there's another concept when you talk about, that file organization system and everything. Um,
Yeah.
that and what really interests you and stuff and how you can absorb it and everything, and that's that you have to be you have to literally be vibrating in a certain frequency, so you have to be in the frequency of the say the concept is about galactics, okay, extraterrestrials, whatever,
Uh-huh.
um and that is kind of a high vibe thing. Now if you're into more like um the idea of ETs and scary movies and things that make you go, "Ooh," okay, that's a lower vibration. But if you're looking
Right.
at these higher, I mean, these not higher, these beings that exist in other places, and they're at a certain frequency, that information or whatever. So you have to have opened yourself up and moved yourself into the space of the frequency to even begin to receive that information.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does
Okay.
make sense.
So, so it's kind of like, when you say you've got to be a lifelong learner, you're talking about, allowing yourself to be open to any possibility. It doesn't mean being gullible. It means being open and being in a high vibe space, like, in alignment with that, feel good, whatever. And the things that really excite you, they're going to trickle in, and you're just
Yeah.
going to, and you, I think you grow more rapidly going that way. Um, okay. So getting back to what we were originally saying about, kind of never did I ever believe I would be in this position, that I would be talking about this stuff. But again, for family, for friends, like our kids and stuff, um, I think it's really cool because I didn't see my mom doing this. So for my kids to see me going, okay, well, this is interesting. And how does this feel? And what does it look like? And being able to have them bring any concept to me and to be able to entertain it because I've practiced being that open, lifelong learner. They can
Yeah.
they can talk to me about, I'm like, okay, I was not into Taylor Swift at all. I was not.
Which
And
is a shame. Shameful.
I knew nothing about her, but my daughter, finally, came out of the closet. I guess she rediscovered Taylor because she didn't realize how many songs she had, learned from a younger age. And then here Taylor comes back out on the, yeah, well, maybe not back out on the scene, but to my daughter, it was back out on the scene. And she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize how much she had influenced my life." And so she goes, totally headlong into it. And because I've become a lifelong learner, because I've been expansive and open and stuff, she began to introduce this stuff to me. And it's like, well, of course I'm interested. And of course it felt right to me. It's that connection with her. Um, but it's like you're able to, I guess what I'm saying is your sphere of connection with people gets wider, broader, because
Uh-huh.
you can share those concepts where with people who are kind of like, no, I know what I know. This is my lane. I'm staying in it. I'm just focused on this. You have a harder time bridging those or making connections and and
Mhm.
and having that relationship because there's just not okay, that was the difference with this woman that I met that I was telling you about, Lori. And the reason why she and I become such fast friends is there's not a single topic, even about the witch stuff, that she and I couldn't talk about.
Uh-huh.
It's all wide open. So we literally go from just like you and I do, like, going
Uh-huh.
from one concept to the next concept to the next concept. And so it's almost like, okay, we need to set boundaries. What are we going to talk about for the next hour? Because otherwise we're all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and let me interject that I am so glad that you and Tessa are talking Taylor Swift, being whatever, because Annie, my older daughter, has been a Swiftie since she was 14.
Uh-huh.
And in the meantime, I also have been a Swiftie since she was 14. And so I have loved Taylor Swift, her family, her music, her all of the everything of Taylor Swift. So I couldn't understand anyone who didn't like her. I didn't get that. It was uncomfortable for me that you didn't know about Taylor Swift for a minute. But so now I'm more comfortable.
Yeah,
But I
that's
was
been
accepting of you anyway.
thank
And for those of you that don't know, Annie, being a super fan, and I got to meet Taylor Swift at a secret session at her house
Mhm.
um, years ago, and that was like the highlight of her life, and probably one of the highlights of my life too.
Well,
And
and
so,
well, we
if
understand that everybody's in mourning right now.
yes, because the Eras tour is over. Yes, or Sunday was the last, but Taylor will still be with us. So everyone, it's okay. There's more to come. She's just not going to be on tour.
Oh my
And
god.
I'm happy for her because I don't know how in the world she did 3.5 hours, 3 nights in a row for all of this time. It
2
just
years?
crazy. I have such respect for her, but
Yeah.
also for her mom and also for her dad because them being so involved, because I do a Did He Do It series too, and so I'm all involved in all of the Hollywood and all of the music industry. Um, but so many people have had a hard time because their parents weren't involved, because they've been taken advantage of and whatever. Obviously, she's a genius, but also the influences that she's had around her have made a huge difference. And
Mhm.
so that's what I say to my girls all the time. Look at not only what they do, but the kind of people that they are.
Yeah,
And that's us too.
yeah.
Look at not what you think we're doing wackadoodle. Look at how
Mhm.
happy we are. Look at how interested we are in all of these things.
Mhm. Well, it's yeah, it really is. What's the, byproduct of it? The byproduct of us going, "No, don't bother me for an hour because I wanna do this, visualization," or, listen, whatever. It's, the byproduct is this incredible sense of happiness and comfort and confidence in the world, in the space around us. Now, you know you could say, well, maybe you are smoking the pipe or something. I'm not literally, but like, drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever. um because there's so much challenges happening in the world, and it's always like, it's going to get better, it's going to get better. Well, it's going to be like this, but it gets better for us because we recognize what is ours to deal with and what isn't. And when you're able to be in that higher vibe space, which is what this whole podcast is about, everything we've
Yeah.
talked about, when you're in that space, you are just able to look at situations that other people are knee jerk reacting to, like it's ruining their day, and you're like, but is it really? Is it really ruining? It's ruining your concept of what you would
Right.
like to see happen, but is it really ruining your day? Are you getting up in the morning? You're taking your kids to school, or so they see us more adjusted and fluid. And isn't that a better thing to have your kids looking up to? The
Well,
example
and
you're
the advice that I give to mine a lot, and I wish someone had given me this advice in my 20s, um, is it anything that you have control over?
saying.
So think about that. And that's why I stopped watching the news, because I don't have any control over that. And is it even accurate? I don't know. So
Mhm,
I'm not going to spend that time getting my brain all rung up on that. I would much rather spend the time meditating or reading a book or standing in the grass or calling my friend Samantha or whatever.
mhm,
y- but it's a mindset. And so that's one of the things we're trying to help you guys with, is that we've adopted that mindset of, yes, I can think about it, but if there's nothing I can do about it, why am I going to let that sap my energy? Why am I going to let that bring my energy down? Let me think what I can do to bring it back up.
mhm. Well, you've
What
given me a
what
perfect
could be
lead
helpful?
in because we need to start wrapping up, but that's the perfect lead into the positive energetic blueprint that
Good.
I'm
Yes.
going to be offering. And so you need to be a member of the group to be involved. There will be a fee this time because I find that when there's, a little bit of money on the line, people tend to take it more seriously. Like, okay, I spent this money. Now I'm going to listen to this stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's probably going to be $35. And the date will be down below. I don't have the exact start date. It is a 1 week process. You can go rapidly through it, or you can or you can let it just kind of drip each day and just do one thing each day, because some of the things are quicker to do and some of them take a little bit longer. And then at the end, we'll have a follow-up session that'll be a Zoom live session to talk about what you came up with. So, and I might have a Zoom at the beginning. I haven't decided. What?
Well, and what's the point of the
Yeah,
blueprint?
I was getting
What are
to
we doing?
so the energetic what is it? The positive energetic blueprint. It's setting up your year for what is it? Where are you at the beginning? What is it? Where are you at? And what's your ideal? Where do you want to be? And it's looking at, well, what's blocking me? What's stopping me from getting to that? And kind of decluttering yourself so you can get more focused on it, and then coming up with a system of things that you can do to address each area. So you can make it just one major thing, or you can go through and do all the different areas of your life. Um, and you kind of know what's the most important thing to shift and make happen. But it's a process that will take you through all of that. It'll simplify it and give you a guideline that you're creating. So it's partially self-guided and partially interactive.
Well, and I love the timing of it because, New Year's resolutions and la 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 la. But really, we do a lot of times, when the new year comes, take the time to reflect on what is working, what's not working, what do I want to change, what do I want to keep the same. So I'm
Yeah. So that,
excited
and
about it.
yeah. So I want to make sure people understand this is not, we're not setting up resolutions. We're defining where we want to be. We're setting intentions.
Right. Well,
We're
and I
reflecting and
just
setting
think,
intentions.
the old paradigm is we all make a resolution, we're gonna go to the gym and then we stop in the middle of January, whatever. But what you're doing here is setting up some goals, like, what's important to you?
Mhm. Yeah, we're
Where do
defining
you want to be?
very specific things, and here's the thing is that it's kinda like, okay, this is what you can do to get you there, but a lot of it's just the intention you put out. Now I know what it is I truly want, and just having that embodied within you that you can revisit, it's not like you have to go out and move mountains. You can if you decide you want to, but it's not like, you said goals, so I just wanted to say, it's not like you're goal setting. But you're just saying,
Yeah.
okay, if I want to get here, here are some ways that I can do it that would be fun to me. But really, the majority of it is if you're embodying the intention, you just naturally will start to, like, you'll be led, you'll be guided that way. Like things will just come in
Yeah.
that will help you move in that direction. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole different kind of exercise. It's a lot of fun to do. Yep.
Well, I'm
So
excited about it.
that will be, I know I keep saying things will be in the description and sometimes they're there and sometimes they're not. And I do my best. But this will be down in the description. And
For real.
yeah, and join, the moment you see it, and we'll be plugging it in our KISS podcast Facebook group. So come over, enjoy, and join that because we got a lot of stuff going on. We have our life design group experience, which is a weekly get together where we share a concept and you guys have the opportunity to actually ask questions and get feedback, but you got to show
Yeah.
up in order to have
Right.
that. And that's absolutely free. It's by, donation, and anything else.
Everyone in the world needs moringa, and I would love for you to order it from me or get it for yourself. But also, oh gosh, I just lost it.
And she's going to hammer that point home because sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, we're talking about moringa again. But you guys, this is one of the products we're saying makes a difference. And if you don't get it from
And a
us, get it
huge
from
difference.
somewhere, but get it.
Not just a little. Get it from us though,
Yeah.
because you love us. And oh, the other thing that I wanted to make sure that I was talking about is when my daughters were saying, I can't believe you're doing this or whatever, they're also worried about their dad, and they're like, "We're not worried about you dying because you drink your moringa every day, and you're doing the things that are making you healthy and happy.
Hmm.
And happiness, you matter. So if I don't teach you anything else from all of the things, you matter. Take care of yourself."
Hmm.
And if I could get you some moringa right this second, that's what I would do for you because that's how excited I am about the fact that everybody needs it. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs
Yep. I love that. Yep, you
it.
matter. You definitely matter. So y'all do the whole, subscribe, like, help
Invite
us
your
get the word,
friends to
yep,
the
out there.
group.
And comment. Let us know. What do you want to hear more of? What can we share with you? We're going to keep just sharing whatever's coming up in the week in our life and how we go about and do what we do and what works for us and be here for you whenever you need us.
Yep, and we would love more ideas because, we come up with it, but sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch of what are we gonna do? What are we gonna talk about? So if you guys have some things you want us to talk about, we would love the ideas.
Okay, so until next time, y'all
Bye,
take
we'll see you
care.
next time.
Bye.
Bye.